Ho, 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 and Merry Christmas, everyone! I hope that you're all enjoying your Christmas party. I'm a bit disappointed that we're not at school, but at least we're all having fun together online for our Christmas party. All right? So, Christmas is really my favorite holiday. I know for a lot of you, Christmas is about presents and Santa Claus and reindeers, but Christmas is also about giving. And giving is one of the foundations of selflessness. So, the net teachers at our school, we want to tell you a bit about selflessness.
Hello, teachers and students. It's Mrs. Eva again. Today is the Book Character Carnival Day, and we are going to read a lot of books introduced by our schoolmates. Today, I would like to introduce to you a book that is about selflessness. As we all know, trees are very useful. Every single part of a tree is very useful. And have you ever think about someone has taken every small part of the tree and make use of them? Eventually, the whole tree was chopped off. However, the tree was still happy. The name of this tree is called the Giving Tree. And this book is about how the tree takes good care of a child. It's a very nice book. I feel so touched after I have read it. I would like to recommend it to you. It has got both English and Chinese version. Write to me after you have read, and let's share some experience reading this book.
We want to tell you a bit about selflessness. We want to share stories of selflessness from our countries. Okay? I'll start off first to tell you a bit about a very famous French story called Les Miserables. And in this story, a lot of people are selfless, and one of the main characters is Jean Valjean. He's a very selfless person. If you want to find out more about him, well, let's ask him what his life is about. Okay? Jean, up to you. It's now your turn.
Hello, everyone. Let me tell you a bit about my story. My name is Jean Valjean, and I lived in France over 200 years ago. My story is a sad story. To survive, I did something terrible. I stole from a church, and I got caught. However, the bishop of that church showed great selflessness. When the police caught me with all those golden cutlery from the church, the priest said that he had given them to me. He didn't want me to suffer anymore, and he was willing to part ways with his belongings in order to help me. This really changed my seeing of things. From that day onwards, I tried my best to be selfless. I tried my best to be kind and good. With the money I had gotten from the church, I went to a new town and I changed my name. And I bought a factory. And with this factory, I made money. And I decided instead of keeping this money, I would give it back to the community. I helped build hospitals. I helped build orphanages. I wanted to help the people in need. She also taught me the importance of selflessness. And so, when a policeman found out that I was not who I said I was, but that I was Jean Valjean, an escaped prisoner, I was in deep trouble. However, the inspector made a mistake, and he thought that another man was Jean Valjean, and he arrested that other man. And that other man was going to go to jail instead of me. Now, I thought very long and hard about letting that man take my place in jail. However, it was not the right thing to do. And so I decided to sacrifice myself. I decided to admit to the police that yes, I was Jean Valjean, and the other man was innocent. There is a lot more to my story. However, I do not have enough time to tell you about it all. You could read my book to find out more about it, or watch the musical about myself. I wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Next up, Miss Mohana is going to tell us a very famous story from India about selflessness. This story is Hanuman.
Hi everyone, it's time for a story. So the story is based on selflessness, and I would like to introduce a book from my home country, which is India. The title of the book is Hanuman. Can you see something peculiar about Hanuman? He has a tail. So, as you can guess, he was a monkey god. When he was young, Hanuman was very mischievous. Once he tried to swallow the sun, thinking it was a delicious sweet. Hanuman grew up worshipping Lord Ram, and when Ram was passing through Gokarna to save his wife Sita from the king of Lanka, Ravana's clutches, Hanuman recognized Rama as the supreme god and joined in the search. On the way to Lanka, the Vanara Sena, the army of the monkeys, was stopped by the mighty ocean. Take a look at the picture here. Lots of monkeys are helping Hanuman. Hanuman told the army to write Rama on the boulders in sight and float them one by one into the ocean. Guess what happened? Soon they were able to build a bridge across the ocean to Lanka. During the battle, Hanuman proved his devotion to Lord Rama again when Lakshman, Lord Rama's younger brother, was injured, and Hanuman flew to the Himalayas to get the medicinal herb. But guess what? He couldn't recognize the herb among all the trees, so he brought the entire Dronagiri mountain to save his life. The establishment of Rama Rajya, or Lord Rama's rule, in Ayodhya was possible because of Hanuman's loyalty and devotion to him. People pray to Hanuman to help them remove their fears and to make the impossible possible. So, Hanuman devoted his entire life to help Lord Ram and his family. He did not ask for anything in return and continuously tried to help them in many different ways. If you want to know more about Hanuman and what he did, you can always Google search to learn more. Try to be kind to others. Lend a helping hand. Don't expect anything in return. Just help because it's the right thing to do. That's all from Ms. Mohana Kamal.
Next, Mr. Aiden is going to introduce a very famous person from South Africa. That person is called Nelson Mandela, and he is known throughout the world. Let's hear his story of selflessness.
Today, I would like to talk about one of my own personal heroes, who happens to come from my country, South Africa. His name is Nelson Mandela. Have you heard of him? For those of you who don't know what he looks like, here's a book about him, and you can see his face on the cover. Let me tell you a bit about Nelson Mandela and why he's one of my heroes. In South Africa, there were two groups of people who were fighting for control of the country. The one group that was in charge used laws and rules and also military force to oppress and control the other group. Nelson Mandela was part of that other group. He wasn't allowed to go to certain places. He wasn't allowed to study at certain universities, but he worked very hard and he became a lawyer. And he fought against the other group. And they didn't like that. So eventually, they put him, along with many other of his people, in prison. And he ended up being in prison for 27 years. He lived in this tiny cell all by himself. And during the days, he was forced to work outside in a quarry, where he had to break rocks all day long. Throughout all of those difficulties, he still worked hard and he carried on studying, and he never gave up the fight. And eventually, after 27 years in prison, he was released in 1990. And then, in 1994, he became the first black president of South Africa. Instead of seeking revenge and trying to make those who had made him suffer, he decided to try and build a nation that was stronger together. He tried to unite everyone, and he set laws that people were not allowed to discriminate against each other. He wanted it to be fair for everyone. So instead of being selfish and thinking about himself and all the hardships he had been through and suffered, he thought about what was best for the country. And he thought about how to make the country the best possible place to live for all its citizens. And that is why I think he is such a selfless human being and a great example for everyone all over the world. If you would like to find out more about Nelson Mandela, you can go to the library and have a look for this book. It's very interesting, and I'm sure you will learn a lot.
Finally, Mr. Tim is going to introduce to us a famous person from Canada called Terry Fox. Let's hear his great story of selflessness.
Hello, it's Mr. Timothy. I'm here to introduce a selfless Canadian. I chose Terrence Stanley Fox, or otherwise known as Terry Fox. Now, Terry Fox was a young man. At 18, he discovered he had life-threatening cancer. And as he was recovering from cancer, he saw that cancer was underfunded in Canada. So he decided to run a marathon to raise money for it. Now, the problem is, as you can see, he lost his leg to cancer. And he decided that one marathon was not enough. He decided to run across Canada. As you can see, Canada is 7,500 kilometers long. He decided that he would run a marathon every day until it was time, until he ran across the whole country from Newfoundland all the way to British Columbia. One day he began to run his marathon, and he did it. Every day he ran a marathon. After 143 days and 5,373 kilometers, he got cancer again, and he had to stop. And shortly after, he died. He died shortly before his 23rd birthday. But he wanted his marathon of hope to continue. He wanted to continue to raise money. So this selfless young man started the Terry Fox Marathon of Hope runs. And these runs have raised almost $750 million Canadian as of 2 years ago. And it continues strong. And this selfless act by an ordinary Canadian has saved hundreds of thousands of lives. If you would like to find out more about Terry Fox, here are a few books that you can look at, that you can go read from the library to find out more about Terry Fox. Thank you for listening. Bye-bye.
That's it from us. I hope you enjoyed these fantastic stories of selflessness. Enjoy the rest of your party.